He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
America, Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Well, before I came on the air here, America, the coroner who examined Alex Pretti's body has concluded it was a homicide. I've been reading the news reports on this, and they don't really explain what that means. They want you to draw the conclusion, if you watch enough TV, Law and Order, other police-type shootings, that a homicide has a criminal context when you watch these dramas on television, or if you watch the first 48 and so forth. But when a coroner declares that a person is dead by homicide, it has nothing to do with criminality per se. It means that the person hasn't died of natural causes, of suicide, of an accident, and so forth and so on. It doesn't mean they were murdered. It does mean they were killed by another person or persons. You understand what I'm saying, Mr. Producer? But they leave this dangling out there because the Democrat Party, and that includes all of its elements, the media, academia, these Marxists, the Islamists, the illegal aliens, and all their front groups and so forth, they all act, if you'll notice, in a synchronized fashion. In a synchronized fashion. Now, they do that either because they're actually synchronizing or by coincidence because they have the same ideology and they have the same motives. To advance the cause of the Democrat Party, a centralized state, and a one-party system. And that way they get what they want. The Islamification of America, the spread of Marxism throughout academia and society, and wide-open borders to change the citizenry and the demographics of the nation. That's what the Democrat Party stands for. That's what these elements of the Democrat Party stand for. Now, we have a Democrat Party that is prepared to shut down the government for several reasons. Number one, it wants to cripple ICE. By crippling ICE, you see, that means that we cannot deport illegal aliens, including criminals. So when you hear them, particularly the most radical among them, which is kind of a oxymoron, because they're all quite radical. But when you do, you hear them talk about breaking up DHS, eliminating ICE, defunding ICE. ICE agents are to remove their masks. If that happens, nobody will join ICE because they know that these people are out to harm them and their families and so forth. And on, basically to try and tie their hands and make the job impossible. and make the effort impossible. And this is the Democrat Party, okay? This is the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party hates you, Mr. and Mrs. America. They hate hardworking Americans here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, which I'll be leaving soon for another state because I'm a resident of Florida, but I mean leaving as quickly as I can. I have to come back and forth, but mostly forth rather than back. They've got their hooks into the system now, and they're going to destroy the state. 52 different taxes, user fees, increase in sales taxes, increase in income taxes, all kinds of brand new taxes and so forth and so on to fund all their radical desires. The complete destruction of public education. They're going to put DEI back in, among other things. Among other things. And so they campaign as moderates, and they're absolutely radical, extremists, vile, poisonous, cancerous nut jobs. And so they want to shut down the government if they can. Maybe they'll give it a 2-week hiatus because they want to destroy our immigration system, which means they want to take over the country without convincing citizens to vote for them, just to populate the nation in ways that they get more House seats, more electoral college votes, and the game is over. But there's another thing. They are fighting to the death, pretty much political death, to put in voter ID laws where you have to demonstrate you're a citizen. And Schumer, who is the lowest of the low lives, he calls this Jim Crow era voter ID laws. So now you're a white racist if you want voter ID laws. You understand? You're a white racist. Because what other reason could you possibly want voter ID laws and you're a white racist? From the Jim Crow era, of course, was a Democrat Party era, but who wants to confuse their rhetoric and propaganda? Here we have from Fox. Schumer threatens to kill funding deal if House Republicans attack elections bill requiring voter photo ID and citizenship proof. Because you see, that's just a bridge too far. That's a mountain too high to show that you actually are allowed to vote under law. So state law requires you to be a citizen to vote. Federal law requires you to be a citizen to vote. The Republicans are saying you need to have evidence of it, a document of some kind. And the Democrats are saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Now, the only reason is because they cheat. That's it. That's it. They want illegals to vote. And they go on and on about the integrity of elections. How can there be integrity in elections given the number of illegal aliens in this country and the destruction in so many states of the standards and the requirements to ensure that the voter is supposed to vote? Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer warned, if House Republicans try to jam voter ID legislation into the Trump-backed funding deal, it would be dead on arrival in the Senate. You realize every senator on the Democrat side, or certainly almost all of them, would vote against the funding bill if it has a voter ID requirement? When you're stopped by a police officer, you have to show a driver's license so they know who you are. And you're in a computer base, so they know who you are, including whether you're a citizen or not, whether you're a criminal or not. House Republicans want to walk away from the current spending fight with a victory of sorts, despite President Trump taking the lead and negotiating a temporary funding truce with Schumer and Senate Democrats. I stand with the House Republicans who are demanding voter ID legislation. And let the Democrats shut down the government over that. And hopefully the Republicans will get their ability to speak back, take the marbles out of their mouth, and explain to the American people that the Democrats do not want only citizens voting. There is no other defense for this, and we shouldn't entertain it. It's nothing to do with race or white supremacy. Nothing. This is the party that's come up with the most complicated federal tax laws one can imagine. But when it comes to showing a driver's license or something else, the equivalent, that's too difficult, you see. That's too complicated. The party of regulation, the party of the Leviathan, showing that you're a citizen, that's too complicated. And besides, you must be a white racist. Nobody's buying that. They're demanding that the 5-bill funding package, which stripped out the controversial Department of Homeland Security spending bill in favor of a 2-week funding extension, also include the House Republicans' updated Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act, dubbed the Save America Act. But doing so is a bridge too far. How about that? For Schumer, the top Senate Democrat argued that legislation which has been sitting on the shelf in the House for months is, quote, reminiscent of Jim Crow-era laws, unquote, and would act as a means to suppress voters rather than encourage more secure elections. Suppress voters? By showing that you're a citizen? Somebody buying that one? That suppresses voters? As I've said before, and I'll say it again, the SAVE Act would impose Jim Crow-type laws to the entire country and is dead on arrival in the Senate. It's a poison pill, he says, that will kill any legislation that is attached to it. If House Republicans add the SAVE Act to the bipartisan appropriations package, it will lead to another prolonged Trump government shutdown. These guys talk like communists. They talk like thugs. I'm urging the Republicans to let Schumer and his party shut it down. And if the battle is over, a determination that people have an ID to prove that they are who they are in order to vote, that is a battle we should be able to win. I believe that's an 80-20 issue, that the average Democrat out there who's working for a living, who's paying taxes for a living, wants to make sure those who vote are actually citizens. People are sick and tired of the Democrats prioritizing illegal aliens, criminal aliens, over honest, law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens, whether they be Republican, Democrat, or no party affiliation. Let us have that fight, and let us have it now. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Well, Envoy Witkoff is off and hunting again, I guess. He's been working on the Russia-Ukraine war. He's been working on Gaza. He's been working now on Iran. You know, ladies and gentlemen, there is a news site called Axios, A-X-I-O-S. And there's a guy there, Barak Ravid, and he's sort of a propagandist. He used to work at a Israeli outlet called Haaretz, which is about as radical left-wing Marxist as it gets. It's basically run, in my opinion, by self-hating Jews. Well, Axios, in my opinion, is run by self-hating Americans. And they are constantly writing stories that undermine the United States, that undermine the state of Israel, and certainly conservatives, of course. Now, here's the thing, America. What are we waiting for now with Iran? They want to talk to us again. And now the Turks are involved, and we know Erdogan is a mass-murdering, genocidal Islamist maniac. We know he's destroyed Turkey. There was a secular society set up by the great Ataturk. We know he came to power as a nationalist Islamist party, socialist party. Ring a bell? So this is problematic. Turkey wants to be part of the military in Gaza, along with, ready for this, Qatar. And of course, Netanyahu says, over my dead body, you're not going to be right on our border. But somebody or something on our side, I think, has it in for Israel. I mean, every step of the way with this Hamas and Gaza. They bypass Israel. They're making decisions independent of Israel. I could have sworn, Mr. Pretti, we were against democracy building. Are we against democracy building? Except in one place, apparently. I mean, if we're into democracy building, well, then we got to fix Qatar and Saudi Arabia, don't we? I mean, these are theocratic monarchies with feudal systems. Hardly any democracy there, I would argue. I mean, they have about as much democracy these days as the state of California, which is one-party rule, and soon to be the state of Virginia, which is in a terrible state of confusion right now. The Democrats basically are in the middle of devouring the state and making it impossible for Republicans to win. And even on this issue of affordability, what is it with Republicans? They can't make the argument that the Democrats tax everything, alive and dead, moving or not moving. These taxes are not popular. They ought to be running on the sales tax on a gallon of gasoline. I mean, that's one of the favorites of the Democrats, or the shortages in the expensive electricity, another favorite of the Democrats. I don't understand why these Republicans can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I just don't get it. Affordability. We should be running on affordability, availability, survivability. I mean, they support the illegal alien criminals over the American citizen. That's survivability. Can run on a survivability, affordability, availability. But they don't do any of it. They sit there with their finger up their nose. But do hold the line on the voter ID requirement. Hold the line. Jim Crow. Jim Crow, Chuck Schumer likes to say. So in other words, if you're a black person and you believe only citizens should vote, are you a white racist too? If you're a Latino citizen and you believe only citizens should vote, are you a white racist too? I mean, the imbecility of this should be easily rammed down his disgusting throat. I'll be right back.
Nobody says it better than Mark Levin.
I'll go with what Mark Levin said, because nobody could say it better.
Call in now at 877-381-3811.
You know, as I think about this voting thing, it's annoying the hell out of me. Jim Crow. You know what Jim Crow was? The voting requirements, a literacy test, or a poll tax. You were taxed in order to vote. It had nothing to do with showing that you're a citizen. Everybody had to show they were a citizen in these areas, white, black, in between. So it has nothing to do with Jim Crow, of course. But now the idea... well, let me ask you this. If proving your citizenship is Jim Crow, why do you have driver's licenses, Mr. Producer? Why do we have driver's licenses? Why do we have passports? Why do we need any proof of citizenship if proving citizenship is Jim Crow? These people are so stupid and imbecilic, they come up with this crap, and the Republicans don't know how to respond to it? Okay, then we'll burn all of our forms of identification. If citizenship is white supremacist, it's the government that requires citizenship and acknowledges citizenship. If you come into the country, you have to take a citizenship test. Or you're supposed to. Yeah, skip that one. Forget it. Bad example. But there's a lot of things tied to citizenship and personal identification, isn't there? Have you tried to get on a plane lately? No, I'm not going to show you my real ID. I mean, it's even more now than a typical driver's license. Real ID. Oh, what about the fake one? No, real ID. Now we have real ID. And if you don't show us real ID, you got to pay another $45, whatever the thing is. Okay. So now all you have to say is, you know what? You must be a white supremacist. Excuse me, I'm African American. Excuse me, Schumer said you're a white supremacist. You're a throwback to Jim Crow. I'm not showing you my ID. What do you think of that? Well, you get handcuffed. So they want ID, they don't want ID. Nah, they want all kinds of information about you. Get these census forms, they go on and on. It's like an SAT. Where were you born? How much did you weigh? Did you have hair on your head? I mean, it goes on and on and on. Well, I don't want to complete that. Well, you better. Otherwise, somebody's going to knock on the door. Maybe it's something else. Oh, okay. But no. It's Jim Crow to have a voter ID, as you well know. Now, this should tell you everything you want to know about illegal immigration, birthright citizenship, trying to get rid of ICE and the Border Patrol, open borders. This should tell you every damn thing you want to know. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen to these people. As a matter of fact, they don't like citizens because at least half of us don't vote for them. Hey, I have an idea. What is it, Democrats? If we eliminate all this citizenship stuff, we can't lose any elections. Wink, wink. Because we know that illegal aliens that get amnesty vote for us, and their children shoo-in for us. It's what the data shows. No, you got to have a voter ID. What are you, white supremacist? That reminds me of Jim Crow. Excuse me? Now, the truth is, if we had things like literacy tests, the truth is the Democrats would always lose, Mr. Producer. Have you listened to these Democrats lately? Are they literate? Are they literate? Is Bernie Sanders literate? He knows the same 7 communist bumper sticker lines and slogans. Shut up, you old man. You know? What does he know? What does AOC know? They're all barely literate. Remember Biden? Now there's a guy who was utterly illiterate. But you listen to them. They got their memorized phrases down. That's it. That's it. So if you cite something like, Alexis de Tocqueville. What? Oh, we know that. Aristotle. Oh, come on. Was he white? Yeah. So are you. No. Can't cite him. What about Adam Smith? Oh, what? That's right, Adam Smith. Edmund Burke? Yes, go on. They're not very literate on the Democrat side, and they don't really care. They don't really care. So we can never have literacy tests, not because of race, but because the Democrats are stupid. They're dumber than we are. They just are. No offense. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. Please understand. Not many, but there are. I get it. But now we come to Iran. I didn't lose my place. I'm here. Why is this complicated? Let's see. For 47 years, they've been wanting to blow us off the face of the earth. Well, okay, we expect their propaganda, Well, we just blew up their nuclear sites. They actually had nuclear sites. Well, we got them. If they do it again, we'll hit them again, But we only hit them once. No president other than Trump hit them. He's only president 3 more years. Well, they're slaughtering their people, but they want to talk to us about a deal? Well, maybe the people deserve it. What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, if they just be quiet and get along, and everything would be swell. They're slaughtering their people by the tens of thousands, and we're going to talk to them. Now, let me ask you a question, America. I really am baffled by this. It's absolutely incoherent to me. It's an Islamist terrorist regime, is it not, Mr. Producer? So we're going to sign a piece of paper with them, maybe, and they're going to honor it? You know what a terrorist is, Mr. and Mrs. America? It's somebody that doesn't follow the rules. They don't even follow the rules of war. They don't even dress like soldiers. They try to attack the citizenry. They try to use weapons of mass destruction against innocent people who disagree with them. But they signed the agreement. Oh, yeah, they signed the agreement. We got a deal. They've promised not to do this, and they're still slaughtering their people. Well, 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. What are we supposed to do? Besides, if we attack them, yes. According to the Qataris and the Turks and the Saudis and the Egyptians, all our dear friends. One's a military dictatorship and the other 3 Islamist dictatorships, 2 of which are monarchies. Yes, they have our best interest, don't you know? 3 of them fund terrorism, including in our country. Tried to assassinate our president. Apparently that doesn't upset the administration. It upsets me. It's very weird. But that said, they don't want us to attack Iran. It could cause all kinds of problems in the Middle East. They don't want us to attack Iran because they're allied with Iran. That's why. That's why. Qatar is allied with Iran. Saudi Arabia is now allied with Iran. Saudi Arabia has become radicalized. Egypt is playing footsie with Iran. And, of course, Turkey has come to Iran's defense publicly now because Erdogan really hates the Jews. Maybe not as much as Tucker Carlson, but he really does hate the Jews. Being an Islamist genocidal maniac and all. But who cares what they think? I told you they just fired a missile, an intercontinental ballistic missile, 7,000 miles, around 10,000 kilometers. With the approval and support of the Russians, they shot it from Iran to Siberia. Got that? That would be like shooting it from Iran to New York City, where Mondami is mayor. Or Washington, D.C., or Philadelphia. Or Baltimore, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they prefer Atlanta. You never know. Maybe Miami. It's a regime that would kill 1 million, 5 million of its people to stay in power. Because they don't care about the people. They don't even care about the country. It's the party that matters. And the party is this Islamist, fundamentalist entity. Now, I've told you before, and other people are using it, and they should, because it's a smart point, no brag, just fact, that we cut deal after deal after deal with North Korea, starting in the 80s all the way into the 2000s. We actually subsidized them to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. Clinton did in order to try and buy peace and feed their people. North Korea is a hellhole. The people are smaller than most people because they don't get nutrition. They die at a very young age. Many are in death camps where they are raped, tortured, and murdered. You're killed summarily. If somebody says that you said something, and all the money goes into the military, all of it, and goes into the head Stalinist, Unna, who had inherited the country from his father. His father inherited it from his grandfather. See, that's how it works. And Khomeini wants his sons to inherit Iran when God takes them, which I hope is sooner than later, for God's sakes. But what about America? What about our children and grandchildren? Do we really want them to have to confront this? Where madmen have multiple nuclear warheads and missiles to reach our country and ballistic missiles? Because that's where they're going. I don't care how many times we knock it out. Like their own foreign minister mumbled. You can take out our sites. You can't take our knowledge. We're going to just keep doing this until we get it right. And then we're going to have subsequent presidents like Joe Biden who will actually help them fund it, or Obama who will appease it. But what are we going to do now? A negotiation, diplomacy, in the face of this kind of an enemy who is weaker than he's ever been, ever, whose economy is a disaster, who couldn't put up a significant fight if they wanted to. Oh, they can do some damage, but they can't win. They can't even come close to winning. And we could do this without any ground troops? There's no time like now. And there never will be another time like now. And we're going to pass this on. Look at your kids. We're going to pass it on to them? Or your grandchildren? Rather than take care of business right now? What can they possibly say? These Islamist, mass-murdering bastards. What can they possibly say that's worth agreeing to? That's worth signing. And if they don't comply, where are we going to go? To the UN? My view, let's stop playing games. Stop dragging this out. Let's get it over with now. Get it over with. And damn the isolationists who hate our country and hate you. Who are hanging out with Saudi Arabia and Qatar like freaks, frauds, and phonies that they are. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Well, we're working hard, folks, developing our video podcast. I'm told not to call it a video podcast, Mr. Producer. You know, we have a radio podcast. They said called a vodcast. Have you ever heard of that? The difference is a podcast has, in some cases, a purely audio element to it. So I said to this person, oh, wait a minute, it has an audio element to it, but they do the video element, right? Isn't that the point? But technically it's not. So I said, can you please call it a vodcast? So I'll call it a vodcast, but I have to explain it's a podcast with video, right? I just want to make sure the public understands what we're talking about. It's hard enough to launch a video podcast without calling it a video podcast. I'm just saying. So we'll call it a vodcast, a.k.a. a video podcast. And the goal is to launch it mid-February, the second or third week into February. And it'll be a little different. We're going to do it 3 times a week for about 40, 45 minutes each session. We're going to continue with our wonderful radio platform because that's the mothership. We will continue with our Fox program. But I can't continue with everything, as you can notice, so I'm not. But I will do these 3 platforms and, of course, continue to write my books because I love to do that. That's why. It gives me a very enriching intellectual challenge when I write a book. When I do these programs, same thing. But I want to congratulate our man, Dan Bongino. He's back. He's relaunched his program. I was listening to part of it today, more vigor than ever before. And, he's a warrior. We can't have our generals who are not on the field. Not now. We got the midterms coming up. We've got to take out Iran. We got to deal with the Christian haters and the Jew haters and the American haters, and I'll get to him in a minute. And so the more voices, strong, smart voices, the better. So it's good to have him back. He's a good buddy, too, a good friend. Well, we have a lot more to cover, and we shall. I'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
I have a question. Since we're negotiating with the Islamo-Nazi regime in Iran that just killed 50,000 of its own people in the last few weeks and is killing more as I speak, will we be demanding that they give the 90 million Iranians their freedom, Mr. Producer? Well, if we're negotiating, I'm just wondering. I would assume the people in Iran, that's what they care about most, no? They want the freedom. They want to be rid of the regime. So if we're negotiating effectively on their behalf, what are we negotiating? Don't tell me nuclear limits. That's a joke. That's a joke as it was a joke with North Korea, okay? It's not going to happen. You either take the regime out or you don't. You take the regime out, there's no nuclear threat. If you don't take the regime out, there will always be a nuclear threat. The difference is the next generation is going to have to deal with it, and the consequences will be grave and severe, much more than they are right now when this regime is on its back. You've got to make decisions for your own children and grandchildren here, America. You're going to pass this on to the next generation or not? And as for the Iranian people, they want their freedom. That's what they're dying for. That's what they were protesting for. And that's why they're being murdered. They're not being murdered over nuclear deals. They're being murdered because they want to be free of that regime. So is Witkoff discussing that? Is that what Turkey's bringing to the table? Of course not. Of course not. It's like a complete mismatch here. We're talking to them, and they're talking to us. We're talking strongly to them. They're talking strongly to us. About what? And during these talks, have they agreed not to slaughter their own people? Of course not. Well, we're not going to hang them. No, they're going to just murder them, bury them alive, shoot them in the back of the head, slice their throats open, stuff like that. Yeah. Terrible. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know what Pure Talk's favorite holiday is? President's Day. Because they believe wireless service should only cost you a couple of presidents. Just a Jackson and a Lincoln, to be exact. For $25 a month, Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, plenty of data. Now compare that to Big Wireless. They'd rather celebrate Benjamin Franklin Day so they can charge your family hundreds every month, and he wasn't even a president. That's not right. You deserve better. Pure Talk is an American wireless company that supports our veterans and invests in a U.S.-only customer service team. When you call, you're talking to someone right here at home. Pure Talk uses the same towers as the big carriers, so enjoy superior 5G coverage without the inflated price. Just $25 a month for talk, text, plenty of data, no contract, no cancellation fee. Don't wait any longer, folks. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin. You'll get 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch to Pure Talk. Here's the president at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. Cut two, Mr. Producer. Go.
Sir, on Iran, the Supreme Leader today said that...
Why do we keep calling him the Supreme Leader? That's what he wants to be called. That's what he's called himself. So you have these reports. You know what? The Supreme Leader? He's a Supreme a-hole. That's what he is. He's the Supreme a-hole. Supreme Leader. You know what, Mr. Producer? I'm going to start calling myself the Supreme Radio Host. You know that? Can you get our voice guy to say that? Mark Levin, the Supreme Radio Host. Okay. If it's good for a mass murder, it's okay for a radio host, right? All right, what did the Supreme Leader have to say? Go ahead.
Regional war, giving you response to that?
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
See, I think the president's there, but he goes through this. He's under, we have a lobby entity here. Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and now Egypt. All murderous dictatorships. Ask the Coptic Christians in Egypt what it's like to be a Coptic Christian, what it's like to be a Christian in Egypt. Ask them. Ask them. They'll tell you. They have to worry about their lives. Oh, yeah. It's an amazing thing. Judaism of the big three was the first religion, then Christianity, and 700 years or so later, you have Islam. Where are the Jews? They have to fight for their own survival in their holy land. We're the Christians. They're scattered all over the place, and there aren't many left. We're the Muslims. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Like they took over the Middle East, like it was Allah's gift to them. But that's not good enough. Now they're in every state in America. They're in every country in Europe. And that's the plan. How do we know? They tell us what they're doing. How stupid are we? How moronic are we? We're going to take over your country. We're going to destroy your religion. If you don't agree, we're going to decapitate you. As one idiot said in Philadelphia. There's only one religion. It's our religion. We will crush the other religion. Oh, okay, welcome. Welcome. The Democrats say welcome and do not deport them. No. Come into the country. Vote Democrat. Have children. Lots and lots. They vote Democrat, too. You know what Khomeini, the first Khomeini, you know what he did? His supporters and the Marxists and leftists in Iran joined forces. Did you know that, Mr. Producer? To take over the country? They joined forces to take over the country. A fusion of Marxists and radical leftists, secularists, and the 7th century barbarians. And you know what Khomeini did when they took over? He slaughtered them. What? He slaughtered them. He slaughtered them. Starting with their leaders. He hanged them. Wow. But don't worry, if they sign a deal with the big Satan, America, they're going to honor it. Oh, they'll honor it forever. Year after year. Now you see, the Islamists, they're not very patient, but if they have to be, they'll be more patient than most. Just a matter of time, they figure. Just keep your foot on the gas pedal. Don't take no for an answer. And if you get no, decapitate. Like the Marxists. The Marxists do the same thing. The same thing. Peace in our time or peace through strength? Neville Chamberlain was peace in our time. World War II was not peace in our time. Peace through strength was ultimately peace. It put an end to World War II. That is, we won. This is an opportunity that we will never have again as a country. As a people. Never again. Iran is broke. Its people want a new government. They want to change that regime. We are still the most powerful military force on earth, at least for now. 100 years ago, the British were the most powerful military force in the world, and they're not even close today, are they? These things change. Unfortunately, it may change for us too one day. But it seems to me we have a moral obligation to our fellow citizens and to our children and our grandchildren, future generations, to deal with this, not put it off. We have a moral obligation to protect our families. Our families are the target of this regime. We have a moral obligation as Americans who care about other human beings to put an end to this. You and I, we are witnesses. Witnesses to the slaughter of tens of thousands of innocent human beings, young people who are just like your kids and grandkids. Yes, we do. Abbas Araghchi, Yabba Dabba Doo, is the foreign minister of Iran. Never forget that. We need to take names for a reason. All of these men should be hanged one day. I'm telling you the truth. They're responsible for the slaughter of tens of thousands. And by the way, thousands of our men, whether it's at 2 embassies, whether it's through Hezbollah, blowing up the Marine barracks, whether it's Hamas, and people forget how they armed the Iraqi military and the Iraqi militia. That's why we have so many wounded warriors. and others who perished. Iran was behind all of it. They're behind it now. Here is the foreign minister of this Islamic Nazi regime. Cut 3, go.
About the United States, we've said this many times before, and I repeat once again that the Islamic Republic of Iran, just as it is ready for negotiations, is also ready for war. We are more prepared than before the 12-day war, and just like in that period, we responded to aggressors with strength. It will be the same this time.
You lost, you ratfink. You lost, you coward. Where's Khomeini today? He's got these underground bunkers, really deep underground, so he can hide like a cockroach. But I thought God was on his side, Mr. Producer. Why do you have to hide like a cockroach if God wants you to do the things you're doing? Did you know God wanted the supreme leader to slaughter tens of thousands of his own people? Did you know God wanted the supreme leader to build nuclear weapons to attack the United States and Europe? Oh, yes, yes. Did you know God wanted terrorists to kill innocent citizens in Israel, in Lebanon, in Yemen, and around the world? Oh, yes, this is God's calling. God demands it. What a lie. What a bunch of scum. I'll be right back. You know what Pure Talk's favorite holiday is? President's Day. Because they believe wireless service should only cost you a couple of presidents. Just a Jackson and a Lincoln, to be exact. For $25 a month, Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, plenty of data. Now compare that to Big Wireless. They'd rather celebrate Benjamin Franklin Day so they can charge your family hundreds every month, and he wasn't even a president. That's not right. You deserve better. Pure Talk is an American wireless company that supports our veterans and invests in a U.S.-only customer service team. When you call, you're talking to someone right here at home. Pure Talk uses the same towers as the big carriers, so enjoy superior 5G coverage without the inflated price. Just $25 a month for talk, text, plenty of data, no contract, no cancellation fee. Don't wait any longer, folks. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin. You'll get 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch to Pure Talk. Senator Lindsey Graham has been outstanding when it comes to the Middle East, absolutely outstanding. And when it comes to Russia, Ukraine, people can attack him all they want. It's Rand Paul who's been pathetic and obtuse and ignorant. The radical libertarians, the isolationists, the Marxist Islamists seem to be a cabal of lunatics. And their idiocy would actually cause a massive world war because the enemy sees weakness, they see stupidity, they see unpreparedness, and psychological, I don't know what to call it. Psychos, I guess. Here's Lindsey Graham on Fox News Sunday. Cut 4, go.
The one thing you can't do as president, talk like Reagan and act like Obama. There's no deal to be done here. These people are not trustworthy. The protesters in the street are not protesting for a better nuclear deal. They're protesting for a better life. And if they win the day, we have a chance to have friends with the people of Iran. The Ayatollah will never be our friend. He's a religious Nazi. President Trump, you said help is on the way. That has to be real. It has to be real soon. Do it, Mr. President. The people of Iran are begging you to be on their side. You have done it so good. You're Reagan plus. This is the defining moment in your presidency. Stand by the people. The Ayatollah falls. The region changes. Bigger than the fall of the Berlin Wall. No more international terrorists. This regime has American blood on its hands since 1979. You got the Houthis. You got Hezbollah killing Americans. Bring this regime down because the people want it down. You don't have to invade the country, but help on the way means military strikes against the infrastructure that is killing the Iranian people. Go after the ones who are killing the people. Put this regime on notice. We're never going to let up. Strangle their economy. It will fall, the people will take over, and over time we will have a friend in Iran, not an enemy. Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis all fall.
Okay.
The biggest thing you could possibly ever do to the Mideast is take this regime down.
I would say it's similar, equivalent to the Berlin Wall coming down, but I agree with every other word he said, every single one. Iran is not this powerhouse country anymore. It doesn't have a nuclear threat. It does have ballistic missiles. It has things of that sort. We have defensive mechanisms, really thanks to Ronald Reagan and thanks to Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel took the Reagan idea and actually developed an Iron Dome. We did not develop an Iron Dome. We are now going to develop a Golden Dome, and I'm sure we're going to rely on a lot of their development, which they hand to us, which they give to us. They improve our jet fighters, and they give it to Lockheed, and they give it to all the other companies that are involved in our military production. They're giving us their laser technology. They're way ahead of the whole world on that. But they actually help improve our development. These are 9 million people, ladies and gentlemen. 9 million people. Imagine if they didn't have to fight wars all the time and defend themselves. What did the Saudis invent? Does anybody know anything, Mr. Producer? What did the Saudis invent? Different ways to murder people through terrorism? What did the Qataris invent? What did they invent? Nothing. The Saudis, nothing. Zero. But Lindsay's 100% right about this. And I'm noticing, and I'm retweeting every time I see it, more and more Republican senators are now speaking out. They want something done about this. There is no peace in our time if this regime remains, if this Ayatollah remains. It's that simple. And it won't just be no peace in our time, it'll be no peace in the time of your children and grandchildren, the next generation. Look, we got to step up. We've got to do this for the next generation at a minimum. The next generation, we've got to step up. The generation before us stepped up. The generation before us fought in Vietnam. The one before that fought in North Korea. The one before that fought in World War II. The vast majority of us aren't fighting at all. It's just a matter of taking out that regime, the head of the regime. I mean, these guys are a nuclear threat. Yeah, we hit their sights, but they're going to keep at it. They're going to keep at it when Donald Trump leaves the Oval Office. And what are we going to get? Some appeasement Democrat that's going to help fund them again? What did Obama do? He signed a deal that ensured that they'd have nuclear weapons in 10 years. Trump ripped it up. He signed the document that pulled us out of that deal. I have the pen. He gave it to me. And I gave it to my stepson. Because he deserved it. Not me. But that said, nobody else attacked those nuclear sites but Trump. When Trump's gone, nobody else is going to. And then when we're gone, you and me, when our generation is gone, who's going to protect them? Who? For God's sakes, we're supposed to leave this country better off than we found it. Is that what we're doing? We got Islamists roaming the country. We have Marxists roaming the country. We have illegal aliens roaming the country. We're on war with law enforcement. We're at war with ICE. The Democrats are at war with all of us, destroying one state after another in one election. It's like Hamas. They get elected and they destroy everything. Without the terrorism, obviously. You get my point. And now this? We're witnesses to slaughter. It's beyond the history books. We're witnesses to modern-day Holocaust against the Iranian people who are Westerners. Now, what are we going to do about it? Nothing? Zero? Really? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know what Pure Talk's favorite holiday is? President's Day. Because they believe wireless service should only cost you a couple of presidents. Just a Jackson and a Lincoln, to be exact. For $25 a month, Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, plenty of data. Now compare that to Big Wireless. They'd rather celebrate Benjamin Franklin Day so they can charge your family hundreds every month, and he wasn't even a president. That's not right. You deserve better. Pure Talk is an American wireless company that supports our veterans and invests in a U.S.-only customer service team. When you call, you're talking to someone right here at home. Pure Talk uses the same towers as the big carriers, so enjoy superior 5G coverage without the inflated price. Just $25 a month for talk, text, plenty of data, no contract, no cancellation fee. Don't wait any longer, folks. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin. You'll get 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch to Pure Talk. Look at this one. Jerusalem Post. Iran fears U.S. strike could break Islamic regime's grip on power by reigniting protests, sources say. Well, why don't we help them? Why are we negotiating? People are extremely angry, a former official said, adding a U.S. attack could lead Iranians to rise up again. The wall of fear has collapsed. There is no fear left. Iran's leadership is increasingly worried. A U.S. strike could break its grip on power by driving an already enraged public back on the streets following a bloody crackdown on anti-government protests, according to 6 current and former officials. In high-level meetings, officials told Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei Yabba-dabba-doo that public anger over last month's crackdown, the bloodiest since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, has reached a point where fear is no longer a deterrent. 4 current officials briefed on the discussion said, what a great people. I'm just telling you. What a fantastic people. And I will tell you this. If that regime is taken out, and these people are able to live in freedom, we're going to broadcast from Iran, Mr. Producer. Don't be scared. You can stay back if you are. I'm going to Iran, which should be called Persia, quite frankly. The officials said Khomeini was told that many Iranians were prepared to confront security forces again, and that external pressures, such as a limited U.S. strike, could embolden them and inflict irreparable damage to the political establishment. It shouldn't be limited. It should be massive. And we should find out where Khomeini is, ask our friends, Israel or Mossad or anybody else that knows, and send that guy to hell where he belongs. The official said Khomeini was told this. Well then. One of the officials told Reuters that Iran's enemies were seeking more protests so as to bring the Islamic Republic to an end, and unfortunately there would be more violence if an uprising took place. No, I think they need our backing now. These people can't be, lambs going to slaughter. That's not appropriate in the least. An attack combined with demonstrations, that's different. A massive military attack combined by demonstrations, and more than demonstrations, efforts to overthrow that government by angry people could lead to a collapse of the ruling system. This is the main concern among the top officials. And that is what our enemies want, said the official, who, like the other officials contacted for this story, declined to be named due to sensitivity of the matter. No, because they'd be thrown off a roof. The reported remarks are significant because they suggest private misgivings inside the leadership at odds with Tehran's defiant public stance towards the protesters and the U.S. The sources declined to say how Khomeini responded. He probably wet his robe, wouldn't you guess, his diapers, Mr. Producer? Iran's foreign ministry did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment on this account of the meetings. Multiple sources told Reuters last week President Trump is weighing options against Iran that include targeted strikes on security forces and leaders to inspire protesters. The strike should be aimed at taking out Khomeini in the inner circle, that is, decapitating it. Even as Israeli and Arab officials said air power alone would not topple the clerical rulers. Well, it wouldn't be air power alone. They just wrote 4 paragraphs on the people rising up. Any such uprising in the wake of a U.S. strike would stand in contrast to the Iranians' response to Israeli and U.S. bombing attacks on Iran's nuclear program back in June, which was not followed by anti-government demonstrations. But a former senior moderate official said the situation had changed since the crackdown in early January. People are extremely angry. Adding a U.S. attack could lead to Iranians rising up again. The wall of fear has collapsed. There's no fear left. Tensions between Tehran and Washington are running high. The arrival of a U.S. aircraft carrier, how about 3 of them, and supporting warships in the Middle East has expanded Trump's ability to make military action if he so wishes, after repeatedly threatening intervention over Iran's bloody crackdown. I humbly believe and respectfully believe the time for talk is over. It's long over. It's been over. The Iranian regime needs to make major reforms that will face more protests. Former President Hassan Rouhani was cited in the Telegraph as saying, well, what reforms can they make, America? Seriously. If you make minor changes, God forbid, we might face problems again in 2 or 3 months or even 10 days, said the former president. Nasrallah Peshvar, a hardline member of the Iranian parliament, denounced Rouhani's comments, stating that today is the time for a major reform, which is the arrest and execution of Rouhani. In other words, the arrest and execution of the former president. That's why these guys need to be driven. They like to build tunnels, I notice. They like to be underground. Have you noticed that, Mr. Producer? Well, then send them there, underground, for good, like the cockroaches they are. Several opposition figures who were part of the establishment before falling out with it have warned the leadership that boiling public anger could result in collapse of the Islamic regime. So why are we talking? Why diplomacy? Let's help it collapse. Am I missing something, Rich? Now's the time. That's what I keep saying. The window is closing. The opportunity is closing. Our enemies are working together diplomatically to put pressure on the administration and on the media and on the Democrats, but especially the administration. Erdogan is not our friend. Qatar is not our friend. Saudi Arabia is not our friend. They don't even apologize for 9/11. They may be the friend of some people, investors and businessmen and podcasters, but they're not the friends of the American people. You, Mr. and Mrs. America, who go to work every day, who pay your taxes every day, who mind your own business. They're not your friend. The river of warm blood that was spilled in the cold month of January will not stop boiling until it changes the course of history. Another former prime minister, Yabba Dabba Doo, who's been under house arrest without trial since 2011, said in a statement published by the pro-reform Kalama website. In what language should people say they do not want this system and do not believe your lies? Enough is enough. The game is over. Boy, this guy's brave. Iran's current situation is the direct result of destructive domestic and international interventions and policies of Khomeini. Former parliament speaker and reformist cleric Mehdi Karoubi was cited by the Telegraph as saying, I'm sure they're rounding these people up, the costly and fruitless nuclear project and the heavy consequences of sanctions over the past 2 decades on our country and people were examples of failed policies, he said. The depth of the tragedy of protester deaths and injuries is so deep that no excuse or justification be accepted for this horrific and merciless massacre and disrespect for the bodies of the victims. Tell me, if the opposition and reformists in Iran, who are used to be part of this regime, see this, why don't we? And if we do see it, what's to negotiate? These diplomacy mongers are very troublesome, Mr. Producer. The diplomacy mongers, you know. The neoliberals and the diplomacy mongers are very misguided. The only way out of this crisis while maintaining the peace is to recognize the right of the people to self-determination in a free referendum. Yeah, but that means that this regime will be voted out and they will be hanging from telephone poles when justice is done. During the early January protests, witnesses and rights groups said security forces crushed demonstrations with lethal force, leaving thousands killed and many wounded. Tehran blamed the violence on armed terrorists linked to Israel and the U.S. Yeah, right. Right, cockroaches. Trump stopped short of carrying out threats to intervene, but he has since demanded that Iran make nuclear concessions. Now, I have mentioned these nuclear issues with you, but what do they have to do with the people of Iran who are trying to survive and want freedom? Nothing. Analysts and insiders say that while the streets are quiet for now, deep-seated grievances have not gone away. Yet you've killed the children of many of these families. And they want retribution, justice in the name of retribution, and I don't blame them. Public frustration has been simmering over economic decline, political repression, widening gulf between the rich and the poor, and entrenched corruption. Oh, these are the Islamists, the leading Islamists in the world. Look at this, America. Economic impoverishment, political repression, widening gulf between the rich and the poor. No wonder the Marxist Islamists in America are not marching in the street. Because this is who they are. This is what they would do to our country. This may not be the end, but it's no longer just the beginning, said Hussan Rassam, a London-based analyst. Protests resumed during mounting foreign pressure and security forces respond with force. The 6 current and former officials said they feared demonstrators would be bolder than the previous unrest, emboldened by experience and driven by a sense that they have little left to lose, which is exactly why a great senator, Ted Cruz, has recommended, at a minimum, arming these people. Let's get them arms. He's 100% right. One of the officials told Reuters that while people were angrier than before, the establishment would use harsher methods against protesters if it were under U.S. attack. Now, if they're under our attack, they're in a very impossible position to even be harsher on the protesters. They have to be looking out for us. Tehran resident whose 15-year-old son was killed in the protests on January 9 said the demonstrators had merely sought a normal life and had been answered with bullets. If America attacks, he said, I will go back to the streets to take revenge for my son and the children this regime has killed. I think that's the mentality over there. Look, these are good people. These are brave people. These are Westerners. They've been educated and trained in the Western belief system. Even though many are Muslims, they're not Islamists. They're not radicals. Amid the growing protests, Khomeini on Monday compared Iranian protesters to Islamic State terrorists. Yeah, you know how that works. That's like Schumer accusing people who want voter ID as a condition to voting, to be white nationalist supremacists. Yeah. In a post, the supreme leader, the supreme stupid man, claimed that seditionists in Iran burned people alive, they beheaded. See how they lie? And this guy's the supreme religious figure in Iran, if not of all Islam. You believe this? We'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Do podcasters have call-in regular American? I don't think they do, most of them, do they, Mr. Producer? They have guests, but they don't talk to the American people, do they? See, this is look, I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to do well. We succeed at everything we do because of you, the American people. When I did a Sunday show on Fox, which I still do, I was told, we can't get enough of Mark Levin. I said, well, 3.5 months later, after cajoling and persuading, I agreed to a Saturday. I couldn't do any week shows because I'm doing my radio show. And at the time, I was doing Blaze. And so that was enough. But now I've decided, let's do this. What do they call it? Vidcast, a.k.a. video podcast. Vidcast. Vodcast. You're right, Mr. Producer. It is vodcast. It's because you're used to vodka. But anyway, vodcast, right? So we will do that. It's a video with a podcast, you understand. And we've decided to do that. I've decided to do that. There will be no investors, no billionaires, no dark money, no Qatari monarchy money, no Saudi monarchy money, no representatives of those regimes who are wealthy in the United States involved in the money. By the way, I don't understand why Carlson is not a registered agent at FARA for at least a couple of countries. I can think of Qatar and Saudi Arabia. How does he get away with that? He used to say it about me. I have no formal connection with anybody. Just me, myself, and I, all three of us. Now, I've met with foreign officials, all kinds. Not the enemy. I won't meet with the enemy. Nope, no enemies. Nope. I'm not going to give them a platform. They have their own platforms. They have their own podcasters. They have their own host. No, we're not doing that. But I'm talking about people who effectively coordinate, are paid by, perhaps, certainly paid for big speeches and so forth. There is a speech company out there that I'm very friendly with that keeps me on their list of speeches, Mr. Producer. I haven't been paid for a speech in a decade. I don't want any money for speeches. I don't take any corporate money for speeches. It's not because I'm a Ralph Nader. It's because I don't want to. If I give a speech to a conservative organization, I never charge them money. To an American supporting organization, I never charge them money. To some of these Israeli groups or Jewish groups, I never charge them money. By the way, I've never been invited by CARE. What's that all about, Mr. Bishop? That's not nice. I haven't been invited by a single Islamist group. Not that I'd go, by the way. I think they're busy with Tucker. And by the way, Bannon Gate. He's all over this Epstein stuff. You people want to talk about Epstein? No, you don't. I know. Most of us don't. Just the big mouths. Epstein. So they get millions and millions of pages. It's not enough. It's not enough. More. Well, what's this all about? Like Mediaite. They're really hooked on this stuff. I think they're perverts or something. Look as they will. Look as they must. They haven't connected Trump to anything. But they're looking. Oh, look at this picture. Oh, look what Epstein said about him. Oh, look at that. Look at what? I think one of the reasons, and I don't know this firsthand, the Department of Justice has had so much difficulty gathering, organizing, duplicating, and then releasing this stuff. When I was there, they were like 20 years behind on technology. I never told anybody that, Mr. Producer, did I? Way behind on technology. I guarantee you they're way behind on technology right now. That's my guess. I haven't talked to anybody. I know nothing. I'm just saying it. That I suspect they're having a problem with technology. Of course, the Biden regime didn't release anything. They were too busy trying to destroy Donald Trump and everybody around him. But this Bannon Gate thing is a serious matter. Bloated Bannon, a.k.a. Third Reich Bannon, a.k.a. I confess, yes, I ripped off my listeners. You know he confessed to that, right, America? Those of you who donated, little old ladies and so forth. Small change. Oh, yeah. He's going to build a southern wall. He never built the southern wall. That guy's never missed a meal either. Did you notice that, Mr. Producer? 4 squares a day. Anyway, so this Bannon Gate, I can hear one of the audios or videos of Epstein. He's saying, All right, my voice isn't on this, right? Right. No, I don't want my voice heard. I don't want to be identified. Oh, okay. Just answer my questions, okay? How many videotapes are there with these two guys? And why aren't they made public? First of all, you know Bannon has the originals or copies. Why won't he make them public? All the suckers who are watching the fraud room, a.k.a. the war room. The only war that's going on with Bannon is in his pants. Did you know that, Mr. Producer? That's right. He's having a civil war. I won't go further. But nonetheless. Yes. Bannon Gate. Seriously, why doesn't he release the videos? And why would he say on a video, don't have my voice and don't release my name? And how much did he get paid by Epstein? Was it a philanthropic activity? Everybody knows Bannon is very philanthropic. Not. So I'm just curious. What was he paid? He's not transparent. He's not translucent. He's opaque. And then there's Katarlson, who's out there, a liar, a hypocrite, a Jew hater who would make Goebbels proud, this guy. The latest stuff that he spewed out of his poisonous trust fund big mouth. I don't hate Jews. I really don't. I don't hate Christians. I really don't. I'm just asking questions. I'm just the biggest a-hole on the face of the earth, gobbling up money left and right. So how much was he paid to speak in Qatar? How much was he paid to speak in Saudi Arabia? If it was nothing, he should just say, I wasn't paid anything. And how about that house he's building in Qatar? You know, if you're a foreigner, you can't build a house in Qatar without the permission of the Qataris. Did he build it? Is he going to be a dual citizen? Has he registered under FARA? Has he? I'm just asking questions, you know. I don't think he was visited by demons, Mr. Producer, even though he says his 4 dogs witnessed it. I think he is a demon. Yes, that's what I said. Well, every now and then we will entertain you with Katarlson stuff. He's like a inner thigh rash on the body politic. No, he's actually a bleeding hemorrhoid on the body politic, I would say. Montage hat tip Milk Bar TV. Cut one, go.
Hamas is a group of jihadis. They're Islamic extremists, which they also claim constantly. Which I don't know if that's true. By the way, it seems more like a political organization.
Raised some eyebrows this week when you said that Hamas is more like a political organization than a terror group.
I didn't say that.
And as someone who has zero interest in participating in any kind of boycott, much less against Israel, I'm just not interested. I'm happy. Yeah. Whatever, buy the hummus.
And I wasn't on Twitter, but I kept getting texts from people like, oh, they're so mad at you about the hummus or something. Since when is hummus Jew? It's an Arab food.
The one person we know who has crystal clarity on what's happening, not just in this country, but in the world, someone who's watched it and chronicled it for years now, his name is Douglas Murray.
I know Douglas, and I think that I've always gotten along with him, and I think that he's clever, but he's hardly an expert on anything. Well, so right. Like, what? Right. Dave Rubin, whoever that is. Dave Rubin, though, does he matter? That's why Dave is like just a child. Like, you don't pay any attention to Dave.
Tucker blurbed my book. Wrote, Dave Rubin is one of the bravest, smartest people I know, as well as a tremendous television presence.
I think U.S. aid, military aid to Israel and the implied security guarantees, some explicit, but many implied security guarantees of the United States to Israel probably haven't helped Israel that much long term, you know? It's a rich country with a highly capable population. Like every other country, it's probably best if it makes its decisions based on what it can do by itself.
That country couldn't exist without, not for a week, without U.S. backing.
Calling people names, anti-Semite, isolationist, to get them to stop talking is not the way to serve your country. That's all I'm saying.
And a bunch of low IQ Republican senator warmonger freaks.
America's supporting Israel because it's an ally.
I don't even know what those words mean. I'm just saying principle.
They're an ally, right? I mean, they both.
I don't know what that means to be an ally.
To say we don't care what the president of the United States wants in his foreign policy.
That's not the behavior of an ally.
What if Qatar was our closest ally? Again, not promoting Qatar. I'm not moving there.
I am, however, tomorrow buying a place in Qatar.
A one-man freak show. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Hakeem Jeffries, if that is his name. May I ask a question? I'm quite serious. If you love your newborn baby, would you call him Hakeem? I guess you would, right? There's a lot of Hakeems out there. More and more, anyway. But anyway, did you know that ICE is breaking into American homes without a warrant all over the place? How many homes of you folks listening have been broken into by ICE? Are you more afraid of ICE breaking into your home or an illegal alien criminal breaking into your home? Well, if Hakeem Jeffries, if that is his name, if Hakeem Jeffries has his way and his ilk, that is, his fellow Democrats, and the Democrats who are in the media pretending to be journalists, and the Democrats who have black robes on who are left-wing kook lawyers, if they have their way, you'll have more of that. You'll have more of that. Let's listen to the always intelligent Hakeem Jeffries. Cut 8, go.
What is clear is that the Department of Homeland Security needs to be dramatically reformed. We share that view, as does Leader Schumer and Senate Democrats.
Wow, then it must be true. Oh, yeah. It must be true. The Democrat Party, of course, spends like drunken Marxists, waves in thousands, tens of thousands of Islamists. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wants to open the prison doors so prisoners can be removed. I mean, from their cells. Want to massively increase your taxes, massively increase regulations, take away your private property rights. Oh, yes. The FHA, that's the plan. Remember all that we talked about? They want to change the voting system so they can't lose. They want to change the Supreme Court so they have an ideologically conforming Politburo. But they don't need to be reformed. No. No. Come now. Go ahead.
Different ways. Body cameras should be mandatory. Masks should come off. Judicial warrants should absolutely be required.
All right, let's stop. Masks should not come off because they will target these men and women, and nobody will sign up, and they know that. Number 2, judicial warrants in every case. Let me ask you a question. I want you to think about this. We have 770 federal district court judges. They're the trial level, the lowest federal judge. We have 21 million illegal aliens. What happens to those federal courtrooms if you have to go in every time and get a federal judicial warrant? They can't function. So we have these bureaucrats who we call immigration law judges. There's thousands and thousands of them. They can't handle the kinds of cases that federal district courts handle. They handle specifically certain types of immigration cases. Okay? So what Congress has done in the past, Democrats and Republicans, Democrat presidents and Republican presidents, they have laws in place where there are times when you don't need any warrant. If you can just demonstrate that the person's here illegally and they've been here illegally within a 2-year period. There's other times. Geographic and physical locations. If somebody just comes off a boat and walks onto the beach, you don't have to get a warrant in order to deport them because you just witnessed it. And remember, immigration decisions of this kind are not criminal. So we're not talking about a criminal warrant. We're not talking about the criminal type of due process that's given to accused criminals. We're not even talking about any of that. And the Supreme Court has said so over and over, and over again. So what they're saying is every case should require a judicial warrant. Every single case. So what they're really saying is do not deport anybody. What they're really saying about no masks is do not hire any people who are going to work for ICE. So Hakeem Jeffries is a saboteur. A saboteur. You need to ask yourselves, why are they so virulently, aggressively defending illegal aliens? Because they don't want voter ID. Did they just say that? Because they want more congressional seats where they are counted, right? Because they want bigger electoral college numbers for blue states, right? It's for the Democrat Party. It's not for the American people. No, ICE is not breaking into your homes. There are mistakes made now and then because local law enforcement is being told to stand down. And so when ICE comes in, you have federal law enforcement coming in who aren't necessarily from that community who are trying to find these people. But they're not breaking into homes willy-nilly. I love it when they say, my God, they're going into Home Depot. They're even going to the 7-Eleven. Well, where do you find illegal aliens? Where do you find them? You go where you find them. They don't stand there and say, hey, I'm an illegal alien. Where should we gather for you, ICE? How stupid is all of this? Go ahead.
With the Constitution, in our view, before DHS agents
or
ICE agents...
The Constitution has nothing to do with this, a-hole, and you know it damn well. You know it damn well. This stuff has been litigated. The court has spoken over and over again. They wave that Constitution around while they hate it. And they hate the men who wrote it, and they denounce the men who wrote it. CRT, the 1619 Project, pulling down the monuments and the symbols and all the rest of it. Then they go, it's not constitutional. I thought you hated the Constitution. But nonetheless, it is completely constitutional. These people are ignorant, and they want to be ignorant, and they're spewing lies. I'll be right back.
The Mark Levin Show, live and national at 877-381-3811.
Let's take some calls, shall we? Let's dip into the gene pool. Yes, we can. Let's go to Chris. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. KELO. How are you, Chris?
Good, Mark. How are you?
Let me look. I am great. Thank you.
Great.
Speaker forever, hold yourself.
Okay. Well, I had a couple points. This whole ICE thing and the interference with ICE and those things, you're such a clinician in understanding rights and things we do. Isn't there an inherent observance, or don't we subordinate to authority to law enforcement? Like when a cop gets behind us with his lights on or asks us to come to his car or the speeding ticket type thing. Isn't there a default authority we observe with them, and that allows them to carry a gun and point it at us if we misbehave, those things? I haven't heard that talk.
Yes, and people say, wow, look at you, just buckling to authority. Excuse me. It's called law and order. They're not there to arrest me because of my political beliefs. They're not there to arrest me because of some violation of the Constitution by them. It is I who is speeding, or whomever who's using drugs, or whomever who's an illegal alien in the country. And so the truth is, if these people succeed in what they're doing, the criminal will rule the day. The criminal who violates the laws that we elect people, our representatives, to put in place, we can elect others to take them away. They will take the place of law enforcement. It'll be lawlessness. And this is where you get mobs and mobocracy and gangs and all the rest of it. And these cops aren't making a lot of money. These ICE people aren't making a lot of money. And they put up with a lot of crap from a lot of people. And they're going up to a car that they stopped at 2 a.m. on a dark road. And they're by themselves just to see if the guy who's speeding is a criminal, and to give them a ticket, and they take their life in their hands 5 times a day. 5 times a day. And they get paid really nothing. Nothing. And I have to sit here and listen to these Marxist bastards and these illegal alien groups and the rest of them You know, they got to wear a body camera. Okay, they're going to wear body cameras. Does it even matter? Does it really matter? These people are against our society. We're the society. We're the people that they're trying to protect. We're the citizenry that they're trying to protect. The Democrats represent the non-citizens, the lawless. That's what they do. And great call, Chris, South Dakota. And I happen to think Kristi Noem's doing a great job. All this backbiting and attack on her. Like she's actually there doing something inappropriate or illegal. She's not. And Kristi Noem has done more to secure that border, to ensure that illegal aliens aren't coming into this country, to try and deport people that the president wants deported, than anybody who's ever served in a position like that. Name somebody else. And so they want to take her out. And the Republicans, too, they get weak, spineless. We're going to impeach her. Impeach her for what? You've got revolution by immigration, and she's fighting it, and she deserves our support. That's me. I don't know her. I've met her a couple of times. That's it. That's it. Let's continue, shall we? I think I will. Gerald, Houston, Texas, XM Satellite. How are you, Gerald? All right, Kevin. Who do we have? Kevin, Bristol, Virginia, the great WMAL. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Let me look. Great. Thank you.
Thank you for taking my call, and thank you for your service. I've seen several posts on X showing leftist radicals in Minneapolis setting up more anti-ICE roadblocks, forcing innocent residents to stop and show ID just to prove they're not federal agents. How is this even legal?
That's a good question.
Democrats were anti-ID. I
Yeah,
thought they were
exactly.
anti-ID, yet here they are running roadside checkpoints. The people who claim to hate Nazis are doing the most Nazi-style thing. Show me your papers.
But this is what happens when the mob takes over. The left, the criminals, the illegals. This is what happens. They take the law into their own hands. Now, they're asking you to show you their papers because if you're actually an American citizen, you're a suspect, right? As opposed to ICE, which is trying to take non-American citizens, particularly those that have committed multiple crimes, and remove them. So now we have, you know, what we say, the inmates running the asylum. It's okay to stop people, to spit at people, to assault people, to threaten people, as long as you're down for the revolution. That's it. That's it. All right, my friend. Good call. All right, let me get back here. Who? Gerald, where'd you go, Gerald? Here, I called for you, and you hung up.
Yes, hello, Mark.
Hello, Gerald.
Can you
Go
hear,
right ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're a brother after my own heart.
Thank you, sir.
You know, I got to tell you. So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we in America, and real news is hard to get sometimes, but we listen to, you know, broadcasts, you know, from the Middle East, clips here and there. All these different regimes throughout the Middle East, you know, they kind of flip-flop on about Iran. My question is, do you really think they want the Persian people to have a 1776 event?
Do I think what now?
Well, it of course, it's not a Western 1776 event.
No, but what was your question? I didn't understand. Do I think they want what? Say that again.
For the not the Iranian people, the Persian people to really be free. You know, it seems like that a lot of the Middle Eastern regimes, they're concerned that there could be a contagion.
Yeah, they are. And I've pointed that out. You're 100% right. Look at what we're talking about. They're inbreds. In Qatar, you know, one family member hands the country over to the next. That's about as backwards as it gets. Same in Saudi Arabia. In Turkey, you had a National Socialist Islamist who got elected to a lower office. Then he incredibly got elected to a higher office with a lot of graft and fraud. And he has destroyed the electoral system since. You know, that's what they do. And then you have, even in Egypt, you have a military dictator. And if it wasn't him, it would be the Muslim Brotherhood, because that was the dictator before him. So, of course, you're right. And they are concerned that the Persian people, who are a westernized people, who are an educated people, they are not an Arab public that has been, brainwashed, an Arab public that has been destitute or anything like that. They are concerned that might catch on, 100%. And that's why they're lobbying at the White House, or even more. We're now sending envoys. We got envoys everywhere, sending envoys to talk to the foreign minister of Iran. That guy's a fraud. He shouldn't be a foreign minister. He's responsible for the death of tens of thousands, too. They should all be held to account for this. Used to be that we didn't negotiate with terrorists. Remember that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Well, not anymore. All right. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
No, I'm not going to discuss the Grammys because I don't care about the Grammys. These do nothing, have done nothing, individuals who contribute nothing to our country, to you, but take from you. And they're predictable, they're boring, they're stupid. They move from one phony issue to the next. Last year, it was Gaza. Genocide, purposeful starvation. It was the Jews. And this year, ICE. Get ICE. ICE. And they applaud each other. So brave. As they walk in with their $50,000 dresses that show their boobs and their fat tuchuses. Oh. And their borrowed jewelry that let them eat cake crowd. Oh, yes, yes. We have so much in common with them, don't we? They're so fantastic. The Grammy Awards. They can all go to hell. Let us go to Tom in Las Vegas, Nevada on the Mark Levin app. Go.
Thank you for taking my call, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Much like Rush Limbaugh that you talked about last week, I consider you an American treasure. My question is this. I saw your post on Twitter earlier today about how the Iranian people get their freedom. How does that work? How does it get to the end? How do they get their freedom in your estimation?
Well, we can't know 100%, but the way we start is to take out Khomeini. You may not have heard he's the supreme leader. He gave himself that name. He's supreme. So take him out. He's built an entire edifice based on loyalty to him. And he's built a faith around it. Take him out, and the dominoes will start to fall. Take out some of the key military units, and we know where they are. Demonstrate that this regime is a paper tiger. That's what you do. And it can be done. Thank you for your call, my friend. Thanks to all of you. I'm blessed to have you out there. It's such an honor. An honor to be on your radio stations, for all you radio companies and PDs and GMs, and speak to the audience. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the people in Ukraine, the people in Israel, the people in Iran, and you, the American people. Have a beautiful evening.